Hello and welcome to English at Fingertips. Today I am back with a new video where I am going to discuss the poem Break, Break, Break. Before going for the line by line discussion of the poem, it is necessary to know about the background of the poem. The poem is a sort of an elegy written by Lord Alfred Tennyson mourning the death of his dear friend Arthur Henry Hallam. Tennyson was deeply affected by the death of his dear friend Arthur Henry Hallam in the year 1833, and thereafter he wrote a number of works in which he mourns the death of his dear friend. The poem Break, Break, Break is one such poem. Now let us read the poem line by line and find out what Tennyson had to go through during that time of emotional turmoil. Break, 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 on thy cold grey stones, O sea. In the initial lines of the poem, the poet here directly addresses the sea. He tells the sea waves to break on the cold grey stones that were lying on the shore. Now look at the words cold grey stones. The words actually express the mental condition of the poet. When we are happy, the world comes across as beautiful and colorful, but when we are sad, everything seems cold, pale and dark. And I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Now the poet wishes that his tongue could express the thoughts that were coming to his mind, but he was so sad that he could barely speak. He wants to express himself, he wants to tell what he is feeling inside, but his grief is such that it cannot be described in words. Oh well, for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sister at play. In the second stanza of the poem, the poet looks around and sees the world as it is and as it should be. People around him are not at all affected by his loss. Thus, he uses the word "oh well" to show us the fact that everything was going well for others. He sees the fisherman's son shouting while playing with his sister. They were very happy and they were enjoying their childhood. Oh well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay. Then the speaker sees a sailor boy who was merrily singing a song while sailing his boat on the bay. The boy was carefree and happy, so he expressed his joy through his song, while the poet was so sad that he could hardly express his pain. Thus the poet sees that people around him were unaware of his sadness, and they kept on enjoying their life in their own way. Others were living a normal life, but his life has turned upside down. He wanted to tell them what was going inside him, but he was unable to do so. He could not express himself. And the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. Now the poet looks at the huge ships that were sailing to unknown lands. The speaker imagines that the ships are passing under the hills and are sailing to destinations that are as good as heaven itself. Thus, the ship is in pursuit of heavenly land, whereas the speaker is left behind in the same place without anything to look forward to. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. While the ship is sailing to a better land and a better future, the speaker is flung back into the past again as he remembers the touch of a hand that has vanished forever and the sound of a voice that will never be heard again. A sense of loss looms large over these lines. The speaker knows that his friend is dead and he will never ever feel the touch or hear the voice of his friend anymore. Break, 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 at the foot of thy crags, O sea. In the last stanza of the poem, the speaker again urges the sea waves to crash over the rocks on the shore. The repetition of these lines in the first stanza as well as in the last stanza shows the fact that the action of the waves is a continuous one. There were numerous waves that came and went by while the speaker was busy watching the stately ship, sailor lad and the fisherman boy. Just like the waves, our life also goes on and on, irrespective of the losses we suffer. But the tender grace of the day that is dead will never come back to me. Thus the speaker accepts the reality that just like the waves, his life will also go on, but he will never ever get back the company of his dear friend who is no more. The happy days that they spent together will forever be a thing of past. The poet knows that his life has changed forever with the death of his friend, but he also acknowledges the fact that sooner or later he will have to accept the truth. He would have to accept the loss and move on because change is the only thing that is constant in life. So there is no other way but to accept the challenges and carry on with our lives. So this is what the poem was all about. I hope that you have liked the explanation, and just like those waves, you would also come back to my channel again and again to watch the upcoming videos. Till then, goodbye and good luck.